diagnosis checking in logistic regression. So after fitting the models, after performing the goodness of fit criterion, we always look for the diagnostic checking of a model. So here we are using the logistic regression. So model diagnosis checking we are doing for the logistic regression. So how we identify or how we do the diagnosis of the model? So of course, it is based on the investigation of a residuals. And what is the ordinal residuals? The ordinal residuals is nothing but EI, and that EI is defined by yi minus yi cap. And because our response is binary and trials are more than one, so we have a binomial distribution. The mean of the binomial distribution is nothing but n into pi. But we are estimating this particular yi by yi cap. So yi cap is nothing but ni pi I cap for I running from 1 to n.
सर स्क्रीन नहीं
So
दिख रही।
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, तो आप बोल रहे हैं दिख रही है।
तो अभी
सर
दिख
स्क्रीन
रही
नहीं
थी,
दिख
अभी
रही,
नहीं दिख रही।
नहीं दिख रही सर।
Now visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
यस सर।
So,
Yes, sir.
so residuals is nothing but the observed minus predicted value, and in binary logistic regression, yi cap is predicted by the ni into pi I cap. So this our residuals is defined by EA is equal to yi minus ni into pi I cap.
सर आपकी आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है सर।
Hello. Hello.
हाँ हेलो
यस
Hello.
सर।
सर। और हाँ
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
यस सर।
हाँ सर बोलिए।
Hello. Yes, am I audible?
Yes,
sir,
sir.
you are audible.
Yes, sir.
यस यस
जवाब
सर।
दीजिए तो। हेलो हेलो बोल रहा हो तो जवाब तो दीजिए।
सर दे तो रहे हैं सर।
अभी दे रहे हैं, ऑडिबल पूछा तब।
नहीं सर, आप ऑडिबल हो।
ओके ठीक है। सो वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द रेसिड्यूल्स. So residuals is nothing but the observed minus predicted value. In a binary logistic regression, you can predict the yi cap by the ni pi I cap if your data is of a group data. In binary logistic regression, we have seen three different, in generalized linear models, we have discussed about the three residuals. One is a Pearson residuals, second one is a Anscombe residuals, and third one is a Devian's residuals. So in second semester in a regression analysis, we study about the ordinal residuals, then standardized residuals, then studentized residuals, then R student residuals, press residuals. These all residuals we have seen for the diagnostic checking of a regression model. So in diagnostic checking, we always just go for the scaling of residuals, and we try to identify which residuals having a normal distribution and the stabilized variant. So that residuals we will use usually for a diagnostic checking. So we make a plot of a residual plots like normal probability plot, residual versus predicted plot, and plot of Cook's distance versus leverage point. And based on that, we identify is there any outlier present in your data or not? Is there any influential point present in your data or not? Here in a binary logistic regression, we always look for the residuals. Mainly, we are looking for the residuals of the deviance residual, because deviance residuals satisfy all the properties of a ordinal residuals. So in a binary logistic regression, you can find out the deviance residuals. Di is nothing but plus or minus deviance, square root of deviance. And in binary logistic, what is the deviance? So this is the form of the deviance in a binary logistic regression that we have already proved. And for a given a value of y equal to 0, you have a form of the di is this, and for If you take y equal to ni, then di will be this. In that way, you can calculate the de Vian's residuals. Okay. Pearson residuals is nothing but observed minus predicted divided by the corresponding estimate of variance of the yi. So estimate of variance of yi is nothing but ni pi I 1 minus pi I, and because you are taking the standard deviation of that, so it is a square root of that. So this is a Pearson residuals. Okay. In binary logistic regression, the Hett matrix, or in a generalized linear model, the Hett matrix, the form of the Hett matrix is this. It is a v raised to half x transpose v into x raised to minus 1 x transpose v raised to half. And here we are just substituting the estimate of a v. V is nothing but the variance covariance matrix, where diagonal values are nothing but the variance of yi. In our setup, we have considered the w instead of the v. So we calculate the leverage value. Leverage value, how will you obtain the leverage point? The leverage point is nothing but HII is nothing but the diagonal value of the matrix H. So that is ith diagonal value of H. It is giving the ith leverage point. Okay. So Pearson residual is given by the Ri. Now I wish to find out the standardized Pearson residuals. So how to find out the standardized Pearson residuals? Because I know that the variance of the residual is that we know. What is the variance of residual? It is a sigma square HII. Okay. So what we do, sigma square is not the current variance of EI. It is the variance of epsilon I. The variance of EI is not the sigma square into 1 minus HI. So what I do, I will just divide the Pearson residual by the square root of HI. So it is nothing but the standardized Pearson residuals, and the form of this is this. Why we are calculating this? Because based on the deviance, based on the standardized Pearson residuals, we can take is there any point which is outlier or not. So you have to just see that if the absolute value of deviance exceeds 3, or absolute value of this standardized Pearson residual exceeds 3, we say that the ith point is outlier. Okay, so that the ith point or ith response is nothing but it is an outlier. Here we are trying to find out the outlier based on the residuals, which point is considered to be outlier. And for that, you look at the X space. X space will tell you that whether this outlier is due to the X or not. So, of course, if you have a data is given, temperature is given in a Challenger example, okay, the failure is at least one O-ring failure, it is your response. So you have already obtained the predicted value. How will you obtain the predicted probability? It is a pi cap, it is nothing but e raised to eta cap upon 1 plus e raised to eta cap. And what is the eta cap? Where eta cap is nothing but beta 0 plus beta 1 cap into temperature. Okay, so given a value of temperature, if you know the estimate of beta 0 and beta 1, you can obtain the eta cap, and based on this relation, you can obtain the predicted failure probability. So this is where this is the predicted failure probability is calculated. If you know the pi I cap, if you know the yi cap, so and if you know the ni, in this setup ni is equal to 1 because it is a ungrouped data. So you can easily find out the Pearson residuals. What is the formula of Pearson residuals? So it is written as Ri equal to yi minus ni pi I cap, but here ni is equal to 1, so it is a simply pi I cap upon pi I cap into 1 minus pi I cap. So this is the Pearson residuals. And to obtain the standardized Pearson residuals, you have to just divide by the Ri upon 1 minus HII. And what is the HII? The HII is nothing but the ith leverage point. So ith leverage point, to calculate ith leverage point, you have to calculate the hat matrix. And what is the form of hat matrix? It is a V raised to half X transpose V X inverse X V half. Is it? So this is, or I have made the mistake, little mistake. Okay. That is here, it is a X transpose is here. Okay. So this is the hat matrix. Based on this hat matrix, you can find out the ith leverage point. So you know the V. What is the V? V is nothing but, it is a matrix whose diagonal values are, or whose values are Vij. And what is Vii? Where Vi is nothing but, sorry, Vi. And what is Vii? Is nothing but the phi I cap into 1 minus phi I cap, because Ni is equal to 1 in our set. So you can just calculate this. And in our setup, what is the X? So I told you that we have a X is this, and the corresponding temperature value of the first observation, second observation, and let us say nth observation. So this is my X. So we just calculate the hat matrix, just take the diagonal value, we will get the ith leverage point. And once we will have the ith leverage point, just we divide the Pearson residual by 1 minus square root of HII, it will give you the standardized Pearson residuals. Okay, leverage that is calculated here, it is nothing but HII. Okay. So once you have a standardized Pearson residuals, we have already calculated the deviance residuals when Di takes value when Yi is equal to, in our setup it is 0 and Yi is equal to 1. So what is the form of the deviance residuals when you take Yi equal to 0 and Y equal to 1? So this is nothing but the form already is given to you. It is a, when you take Y equal to 0, it is minus square root of minus 2 ln 1 minus pi I. Minus square root of 2 times ln 1 minus pi I and Y equal to 0. And it takes value square root of 2 ln pi I cap if Y equal to 1. So based on this, you make it just given a value of Y, wherever this Y is, you can use this formula, because pi I you know, predicted probability, and how many observations, so there are an observation. You get the deviance residuals. You will get this. Okay. Now you have to find out this all measures, deviance residuals, standardized Pearson residuals are mainly useful to decide whether there is a presence of an outlier in your data or not. Okay, so as I told you that if this is the case, if the absolute value of the deviance exceeds the 3, we say that the ith observation is outlier, or absolute value of the standardized Pearson residuals exceed 3, we say that the ith point is a outlier. Now, we, for a binary logistic regression, calculate the 3 measures. One is a delta beta, delta deviance, and delta chi-square. So this is a delta beta. I call them as a difference in the beta. So what is the estimate of beta in our setup? It is a B. Delta deviance. So I know the deviance, so I can just find out the delta D. Okay. And this is a delta chi-square. So these 3 measures are mainly useful. Which measure? Delta chi-square, delta deviance, and delta beta are mainly useful to decide is there any influential point in the data or not. In regression models, we have calculated the Cook distance, di. So we have calculate the Cook distance. Okay, di. And based on that, we have said that if the di is exceed 1, we say that the ith point is influential point. Okay, but here d is for deviance. In second semester, in a regression models, di stands for the Cook distance. And we have made the plot of the di versus HII. If you remember, it is a plot of Cook distance versus leverage point. And if any one of the point is far away from the rest of the point, we say that that point is a outlier. So here, to decide the outlier, or sorry, to decide the influential point in the binary logistic regression, we will develop the three measures. One is a difference in the beta. Second one is a difference in the chi-square, and third is a difference in the deviance. Okay. So delta for the difference, that means the change you observed. So what is the formula we are using? So it is, the formula is like that. If you wish to find out the difference of beta, so when all observations are considered, you calculate the estimate of the regression coefficient beta. We call them as a B. And B minus I, it means it is the estimate of a parameters when we have deleted the ith observation. If you remember the Press residuals we have obtained, if you remember the Press residuals, EI is nothing but it is a residuals which is obtained by deleting the ith observation. Okay, so it is not, it was nothing but it is a yi minus yi cap, and yi cap is nothing but if you have so many parameters, we call them as a beta I. So here they have used the beta minus I. That means they have deleted ith observation. Okay, and then you obtain the regression coefficient. See, number of parameters remain the same in the regression coefficient. If you take n observation to estimate or n minus 1. Okay, so here the number of elements in the B and B minus I, it is the same. Suppose if you have considered the P parameter, so both contain P estimate. So just you have to take V is nothing but the, when you apply the full model, all observation at that time variance covariance matrix, X is known to you. So you just by using this, you will get the formula of the difference in the beta, and this formula is obtained by like that, Ri square HII upon 1 minus HII square. But we know that what is RSI? RSI is nothing but Ri divided by square root of 1 minus HII. If you take the square, what happen? 1 HII is remain. So that is RSI square upon 1 minus HII. And here there is a mistake. HII is not there. So you have to multiply by HII. So this is the formula for the difference in the B. Okay. So you try to see that we know that if there is an influential point, it is affecting the regression coefficient. Okay. If you remember in the second semester, we discussed if the ith point is the influential point, so what happened? It affects the slope of the regression line, and simultaneously it is affecting the MSE, mean square due to error. So that is how, whether it is affecting the slope of the regression line or not. So we are just directly trying to see that. If I am deleting the ith observation, what happened the delta B? If delta B is very large, it means that there is a ith point which is affecting your response. Okay, so once you have this delta B, you can use it to decide the influential point. Similarly, you calculate the Pearson chi-square, or sorry, difference in the chi-square. So how will you calculate the difference in the chi-square? So you know that the standardized Pearson residuals, RSI. What is the formula? It is Ri upon square root of 1 minus HII. and is equal to yi minus ni pi I cap upon 1 minus hii into ni pi I cap 1 minus pi I cap. Okay, so this is nothing, it is a normal 0 1. So what is their square? So that square is a chi-square. So that is how we are, here you are, this residuals you are obtaining. Okay, so it is nothing but the Pearson, standardized Pearson residuals, and the square of the standardized Pearson residuals is nothing but the chi-square. So we say that delta chi-square is calculated is nothing but the square of the standardized Pearson residuals, and the difference in the deviance is obtained by this formula. Difference in the deviance is nothing but the di square plus 1 minus ri square upon ri square hi upon 1 minus hi. Okay, if we approximate, let us say the Pearson residuals and the studentized residuals are both are equivalent, then just substitute ri square by di square, you will get this form. Okay, because di square minus di square 1 minus hii ri square by the di square hii and divide by 1 minus hii. So this di square minus hi with plus cancel out. So what you will remain? It is di square upon 1 minus hi. So that is this formula. So in short, we have to calculate the three things. Calculate the difference in beta, difference in chi-square, and difference in di. What is the formula of difference in bi? What is the formula of difference in chi-square? And what is the formula of a difference in di? So it is a di upon square root of 1 minus hii. Is it? No, it is not the square
No.
root. It is simply a 1 minus hii.
Di square.
Yes, di square, you're right. It is a di square upon 1 minus hii. And this is nothing but the standardized Pearson residual square.
Ri
It is ri square upon 1 minus hii. Is it?
Yes,
SI1?
sir. हाँ. Yes, sir.
Okay.
सर अच्छा भी रहेगा क्या?
डिफरेंस इन वेरिएंस एंड डिफरेंस इन chi स्क्वायर में कितना फर्क है? जस्ट आप di स्क्वायर की जगह पे ri स्क्वायर रखो तो you will get this. And difference in b is nothing but, what is that? It is ri square rsi square
HII
hii upon
divided by 1 minus
1
HII.
minus hi or square root of 1 minus hi.
1 minus HII.
It is a 1 minus hi. Okay. So these are the three formulas we have. Now, how will you take the decision? If any one of delta bi, delta chi square I, and delta di, if any one of these exceed the 4, we say that ith point is influential point. Ith point is influential point. So that is what it is written. Generally, the values of this quantity larger than 4 indicate influential observation. Okay. So, of course, when you perform the residual analysis, what will you do? In diagnostic, you have calculated the value of Pearson residuals, you have calculated the Dayans residuals, you have calculated the HII, okay, you have calculated the predicted value, you have calculated the difference in the BI, difference in the chi-square, and difference in the deviance. Now, I will just make the plot of deviance, residuals, and if all the point observation is covered by the line, that means here it is observed, and here it is a theoretical. So di, and here it is a okay. These are your observations. So if all the point is covered by the line, then we say that the residuals follow the normal distribution. It is satisfying the property. Then second, we make the residual versus fitted value. So in our case, which residuals we are considering? Deviance residuals, and it is not di, sorry, it is a rdi. Okay. So deviance residual versus the pi I cap, and if you get any patterns, if there is no pattern, we say that the residuals is a constant. That means there is no heteroscedasticity is present. But if you get some patterns, then you have to take the decision whether the heteroscedasticity is present or not. And I told you that you can have the open funnel or something different graphs you have. Then you say that there is a presence of a heteroscedasticity. Now to decide the outliers, you make a plot of difference of bi versus leverage, difference of chi-square versus leverage, and difference of deviance versus leverage, and then try to see that if any one of the point it is far away from the rest of, then we say that the ith point is a influential point. So you can see that delta beta versus leverage, okay, delta deviance versus leverage, and delta chi-square versus leverage. So you have to make this plot, and if any one of the point which is far away from the rest of observation, then we say that the ith point is a outlier. So for this data, we look at the difference of the deviance. Can you see? I'll just make a screen little bit smaller. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So look at the difference in the delta in a chi-square. Did you get any point which is greater than 4? So this point.
17.
Similarly, in a difference deviance, this point. You can see that any other point, no. It is here 3. And here in difference in beta, you can see that it does not show. Okay, if you look at the difference in the beta, you say that there is no influential point. But if you look at the difference in the chi-square, if you difference in the deviance, you can say that yes, this observation is a influential point. But if you look at the corresponding deviance, standardized residuals and the studentized residuals, it does not tell you. It does not say that this is an outlier. But when you calculate the difference in the deviance and difference in chi-square, it is saying that that point is an influential point. So if you look at the deviance, you will not find any one of the observation is less than -3 and above the 3. Did you get? No. So you say that there is no outliers. But when you calculate so if you have not calculated this, what? You say that there is no outlier and we have developed the models. There is no influential point and we have developed the models. But when you calculate this diagnostic summary, you can identify that no, this point is something is different, and which is saying that there is a influential point. Okay. You can see that most of the observation at the 70, it is a O-ring is failed, but this 70, the O-ring is not failed. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
if you have any query, because this is the end of binary logistic regression. If you have not any query, then we will switch over to the new concept that is called the multinomial logistic regression. Any questions? So can anyone suggest me the quick revision?
No, sir.
or should I suggest? Quick revision. So in a quick revision, what you need? Why binary logistic regression? So first step,
Wise call.
look at data.
Wise.
What is the y and what is the x? Y must be qualitative, and it has the binary response
0,
or 1.
1,
X may be
quantitative
qualitative,
or quant.
X may be quantitative, or it may be a combination of both. We can
Both.
apply the binary logistic regression. So once the response is binary, it is identifying that we have to develop a regression models having a binary response. So there are three models are possible, three link function can be possible. You can use the logit link,
Probit link,
you can use the
probit
probit link,
link, log,
and third
complement.
one is a complementary log.
Oh, sorry, complementary log.
Okay, so it is a logit link, this is a probit, and this is a
Complementary log.
These two links are symmetric.
Metric.
Unsymmetric, complementary
This is a
log.
asymmetric. Okay. Once link is identified, you have to identify the linear predictor. If it is of a categorical, then it is directly add as a parameters, and if it is a quantitative, then you have to add them as a direct covariate. So suppose if you have a categorical variable, what happened? We always converted them into the dummy. So if there are three categories, how many variables we can make? Two dummy variable. Why? Because one category we kept them as a reference. So we write the linear predictors eta. If only one linear predictor,
Beta 1x.
and if the model is a binary logistic, then we have a one linear predictors model. But if we have a more than one linear predictors, then the model is known as a multiple logistic regression. If this is the case, and if the model is applied, it is a binary logistic regression. But if you have a linear predictor this, then and response is binary, we call them as a multiple logistic regression. Okay, so Shital, this is the kind of the exam way you have to give. Okay, if the response is binary and X is categorical, then which model is? So this is where the classification with respect to measurement of scale you have to explain in the seminar. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once the model is decided, let us say if we talk about the binary logistic regression. Okay. In general setup, we can write eta equal to x dash beta. If this, now this. Then we go for the estimate of parameters. So which method is there? There are two methods,
One,
IRLS, that is iteratively
Relative least square method.
weighted least square method.
yes, sir, deviance method.
Okay, and second one is a Newton
Reaction method.
Raphson method. It is also known as a Fisher scoring method. So if you are talking about the first method, then what you require? You require the z, that is adjacent dependent variable, and the form of z is eta plus y minus mu d eta by d mu. It is for a generalized linear models, and the corresponding weight matrix is a d eta by d mu whole square into v. सही है ना? ये v इनवर्स है.
नहीं
नहीं है v इनवर्स.
नहीं नहीं डीटा बाय डी म्यू ब्रैकेट स्क्वायर इनटू वी है
सही है सर.
वी है वी
Inverse v है. Okay, that you have to verify. I think v inverse. Okay, no, it is a v. Okay, v is nothing but the variance of y except the sigma square, because sigma square is equal to 1. So because our in binary logistic theta is equal to ln pi upon 1 minus pi, because it is a canonical link, so we write the equal to eta. So pi is equal to e raised to eta upon 1 plus e raised to eta. So you have already obtained the form of d eta by d mu. It is nothing but 1 upon mu into 1 minus mu. And the weight inverse form is nothing but mu into 1 minus mu. Okay. So just use this to form. Just substituting that, you will get the eta plus y minus mu upon mu into 1 minus mu, and double inverse equal to mu into 1 minus mu. Okay. That means all diagonal elements are mu into 1 minus mu in this double inverse. Okay. So what we have to do? First, obtain initial value of beta, say b0, by regressing y on x. So that means irrespective of y, whether it is a binary or nothing, we directly regress y on x, apply the least square method, obtain the b0. And once we got the b0, we can obtain the eta 0. And if we know the eta 0, we can obtain the pi 0 by using this formula. And if we got the pi 0, then we can get the z0 as well as the w inverse 0. Then in the second step, we regress z0 on the x and obtain the new estimate of beta, is called b1. Obtain the eta 1, pi 1, z1, w1 inverse, and see that the successive difference between the absolute value of b1 and b0 is less than epsilon. Stop iteration. Okay, we get final estimate. Otherwise, repeat the process. Okay. So this is one method. The second method in a Newton-Raphson method, what we do, we will calculate the score matrix or the score vector del L by del beta 0, del L by del beta 1. If we have a p parameter, so we will continue up to this. And then we calculate the Hessian matrix. If we consider only two, so del L by del beta 0 square, del square L by del beta 0, del beta 1. Why I am writing this? Because this is the column for beta 0, this is the column for beta 1. Okay, so here it is a del square L by del beta 1 del beta 0 and del square L by del beta 1 square. So once we have the Hessian matrix, we will apply the Newton-Raphson method as the new estimate at the ith iteration, I plus what iteration is nothing but estimate obtained at the ith iteration minus H inverse S, and this all calculated at the ith estimate. Okay, so if you take I equal to 0, then we call them as a B0. And how to obtain B0? B0 is obtained by regressing y on x. Okay, you will obtain the B0. Just apply this, calculate the Hessian matrix at the B0, core at the B0, and subtract whatever the value from this B0, you will get the new estimate. And again, when you stop the iteration, when the successive difference between the new estimate and current old estimate and their successive difference absolute value of sum is less than epsilon, stop iteration, and BI is the final estimate beta. Okay, so this is where you have to, otherwise you have to repeat procedure. So once the estimation is done, your next task is
Testing opposite. Parameter.
okay. So you will go for the based on the Devian's method, especially subset of parameter testing. Testing of subset of parameters. Okay, and second one is that we will use the Wahl statistic. So in a subset of deviant statistics, suppose my linear predictor is x beta is classified into the x1 beta 1 plus x2 beta 2. In beta 1, beta is classified into the beta 1, beta 2, it having n minus r parameter, it has a r, and x is classified as the x1, x2, it has a n rows and p minus, sorry, here it is a p minus r, the variables into the x1 and r in the x2. And if I'm interested to test beta 2 equal to 0, that means there is no impact of a last r regression coefficient or r variables. So we will apply the deviance test. So deviance of beta 2 given beta 1 is obtained as a deviance of beta 1 minus deviance of beta. And it has been compared with the chi-square with the alpha and r degree of freedom. If this is the case, reject h naught. That means rth regression coefficients are important. Otherwise, accept h naught. Okay. And second, you can use the Wahl statistics. Let us say it is individual testing. let us say beta j equal to 0 versus beta j not equal to 0, j equal to 1 to p. And then what you do, you require to have a variance of b. What is the variance of b? It is the x dash v cap x inverse that we have already obtained, and the diagonal value of this. So variance of bj is nothing but the ith diagonal value. It is giving the variance of bj. So just obtain the z0. It is nothing but the estimate of the parameter regression coefficient divided by the standard errors of regression coefficient. And it has a normal 0, 1. So therefore z square, it is called the Wall statistics, that has the chi-square 1. And if z0 square is exceed chi-square 1 alpha, reject at naught, otherwise accept it. So once this regression part is over, we always look for the confidence interval. If you wish to find out the confidence interval for the beta bj, confidence interval for, let us say bj, beta j. So what is that? It is a bj minus z alpha by 2 standard error of bj less than equal to beta j less than equal to bj plus z alpha by 2 standard error of bj. So this is giving the 95% confidence interval, or it is saying that the 1 minus alpha into 100% confidence interval of bj. And if I wish to find out the confidence interval for odds ratio, so what is the confidence interval of odds ratio? It is a e power of bj minus z alpha by 2 standard error of bj less than equal to e power of bj less than equal to e power bj plus z alpha by 2 standard error of bj. So odds ratio is nothing but e power bj. And if you wish to estimate, then you have to just substitute that. Okay, in odds, so this is where you can obtain, and then you last go for the diagnostic checking. One thing is remained कि after fitting the models, we go for the validation of the models. So for validation, one can use operating receiver characteristic curve, बराबर? OC curve, operating receiver characteristic curve. So based on that, one can take the decision whether the model is really good or not. So for diagnostic checking, we calculate the EI, then we calculate the Pearson residuals, we calculate the, of course, pi I cap, we calculate the standardized Pearson residuals, we calculate DI, we calculate the difference in the chi-square, difference in the beta, difference in the deviance, and then take the decision if any one of or is exceed 3, ith point is outlier, and delta di, delta bi, or delta chi-square. If any one of these exceed 4, ith point is influential point. Okay, you can also make the plot of normal probability plot of DI. You can make a DI versus predicted plot. You can make the plot of a delta chi-square versus HII, delta DI versus HII, and delta BI versus HII. Okay. And what is HII? HII is nothing but the ith element of the hat matrix. And what is the hat matrix? V raised to half x, x dash v cap, x raised to minus half, x dash v cap raised to half. So this is their ith element. So I think this is the quick summary of binary logistic regression models. Anything else? Anyone? Any questions?
No, sir.
So we should know how to proceed. ये हमारे पास होना चाहिए इंफॉर्मेशन कि कहाँ से शुरू करना है, कहाँ खत्म करना है, देन यू हैव टू गिव ए फाइनल मॉडल प्रेडिक्शन. एक चीज हमने इसमें रह गया कि if I wish to obtain the estimate of the linear predictors x0 dash b given a value of x, okay, so what is the variance of theta 0 or variance of x0 dash b? So it is nothing but x0 dash variance का है x dash b x inverse, that is variance of b into x0, and then you have to have their confidence interval. So you can also obtain their confidence intervals. x0 dash b minus z alpha by 2 square root of x0 dash x dash v cap x inverse x0 less than equal to x0 dash beta, that is linear predictor confidence interval, x0 dash b plus z alpha by 2 square root of x0 dash x dash v cap x inverse x0. Okay, so this is the if you wish to go for a given value of x0, what is the linear predictor value, and then you can find out the confidence interval for probability. This is called pi 0 cap. So if I call them this quantity, if I'm calling them as a x0 at lower bound, and this is the upper bound, then the pi cap is nothing but lx0 upon 1 plus l 1 plus, sorry, is it right? No, it is a e raised to
L0 upon 1 plus e raised to LH0.
Very good, nice. So similarly, it is a pi 0, and this is nothing but e raised to ux0 upon 1 plus e raised to ux0. Okay, so this is giving the 95 1 minus alpha percentage confidence interval for the probability. Okay. Any questions up to here? Anyone?
No, sir.
Anyone? यहाँ आपके
No, sir.
मैंने आपको बताया था कि बाइनरी लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन आपका यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाएगा और अपना जो सिलेबस है उसमें हम यहाँ तक रखेंगे. तो all generalized linear models which we have discussed in the first unit, okay, तो उसमें आप जो सेकेंड सेमेस्टर में बेसिक पढ़ चुके हैं, स्टैंडर्डाइज रेसिड्यूल्स, स्टूडेंटाइज रेसिड्यूल्स, वो सारा भी कॉन्सेप्ट इसमें रहेगा. ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो हमें पता नहीं है. दैट ऑलरेडी आई हैव डिस्कस विद यू. तो जनरलाइज लीनियर मॉडल्स में जो हमारा पहला यूनिट हुआ वो, और दूसरा ये है बाइनरी लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन में, तो वो सारा मैंने आपके साथ जो डिस्कस किया वो सारा ये अपने एग्जाम की उसमें रहेंगे. ठीक है, सिर्फ रिसीविंग ऑपरेटिंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक कर्व नहीं रहेगा क्योंकि वो सेमिनार में दिया है. Otherwise, rest of the things I have already discussed. दो मैंने इन्फ्लुएंशियल पॉइंट डिटेक्ट करने का किसी को सेमिनार दिया है, बट आई हैव ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन. Any question?